Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining Sitecore User Group India. Today, we have Arvind Gehlot with us. He is Sitecore Technology MVP, and currently he is working as a senior technology lead at Horizontal. He has 15 years of experience in IT industry, and he has been working on Sitecore platform since 7+ years now. Today's topic is Sitecore Search. This is the introduction of Sitecore Search. And in this session, Arvind let you know how you can quickly get started on Sitecore Search. And then you can take it over from there for your further learnings. So Arvind, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Khushbu. Thanks a lot for having me here to present on this topic today. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone and express my hope that you'll get insightful knowledge by the end of this session. So let me start with my brief introduction, although Khushbu already mentioned, but just let me go through very quickly. This is Arvind Gehlot, having around 16 years of IT experience. Throughout my career, I have held multiple roles, including developers, project manager, solution architect, and technology lead. As mentioned earlier, currently I'm working with Horizontal UAE as a senior technology lead. And I'm also a technical blogger. So you can see my blog. Here are the channels that you can reach out to me. The Slack, LinkedIn, Twitter, and you can find my repositories on GitHub and code snippets on Gist as well. Okay, let's start with the topic today and agenda for the session and what we would like to cover. So as briefly mentioned by Khushbu that how quickly we can get on board with Sitecore Search. So we'll quickly go through those slides, but prior to that, I would like to discuss a few important core concepts of Sitecore Search. So I'll start with introduction of Sitecore Search, what it is, and what are the core capabilities of Sitecore Search. After that, we'll discuss evaluation of Sitecore Search, what is the underneath technology in it. Next, we'll cover major component of Sitecore Search that you should be aware of. Then we'll discuss about how Sitecore Search can be integrated to your applications and what are the ways we have for that integration. After this, we'll see Sitecore Search core functionality and flow, followed by some of the key feature of Sitecore Search like content catalog, widget, recipes, search experiences, analytics, optimizations, indexing, and securities. Post that, I'll show some steps with screenshots on how to get on board with Sitecore Search. And at the later part, we'll have question and answer round. If anybody has any kind of questions, we can certainly discuss. I'm sure that I'll not be able to answer a few of the questions because this platform is relatively new and I have explored and I can answer what I learned during this exposure. And then we'll close the session with a thank. So let's jump on the agenda. First agenda item today. What is Sitecore Search? So Sitecore Search is basically a headless content discovery platform, which with generic connectors that extract and index content. So we can have multiple sources, and from multiple sources, we can index the content in Sitecore Search. It also provides A/B testing, also provide analytics, self-service configuration. It gives content manager the flexibility to control content result themselves with no developer involved. Once configured, it can be integrated with your website or any online point of contact. Sitecore Search can deliver faceted site search experiences that provide tools for marketers to raise the result in ranking while giving insight into the effectiveness of results through analytics. Sitecore Search is flexible such that execute query across all content or predetermined set. It is scalable as the backend and the front end are decoupled, and that is why it is more scalable. So no downtime during the maintenance. It has data-driven automation inbuilt content and visitor telemetry. A/B testing is there, and the analytics is also there. So we can just touch upon all these components in few of the slides. Here are some key features of the platform that includes unified content discovery that combine multiple types of content into unified search experiences that we discussed earlier. It has few own categories, attributes, languages, and tagging. And also provide the customization on how content is matched, sorted, promoted to minor to a specific need of your search and navigation. The second one is drive visitor engagement. So visitors are profiled in real time based on search and site interaction to instantly boost relevant content at the moment. It also curate AI-based rules for amplifying specific content based on strategic business objectives or in response to the content feedback or customer feedback. Next is to get result now. It allows easy implementation through web-based configuration and flexible integration into any website through APIs and pre-built components. It provides visitor with predictive type-ahead search in milliseconds and all backed up by AI-assisted personalization out of the box. And when we talk about platform capabilities, it has many features, many interesting features like search, visitor profiles, content profiles, tracking and analytics, generic connectors, multi-index management, context and rule engine configuration, multi-locale support, and A/B testing and multivariate testing. Now let's talk about how Sitecore Search evolution happens over the year, and then we'll come back to Sitecore Search in detail. So let's go back in time to see how we reached to the Sitecore Search that we have today. So the whole story begins with the Elasticsearch. Many or long years ago, Elasticsearch is a distributed open source search and analytics engine designed for handling large amounts of data. It's commonly used for full text search, real-time analytics, and log data analytics. If we further drill down, Elasticsearch is built on top of Apache Lucene libraries and is developed in Java. It provides a RESTful API for querying and managing the data and support various data types, including structured, unstructured, and geospatial data for searching the data on the basis of lat long. Sitecore Search capabilities have evolved significantly over the year in 2019. Around 3 years back, Sitecore acquired Reflection, a company that offered AI-powered search and personalization for e-commerce websites. The technology behind as the Elasticsearch that we discussed about. So Reflection was built on top of Elasticsearch. Reflection optimizes all digital retail experiences for the unique shoppers across product recommendation, visual search, targeted content, and email campaigns. So Sitecore integrated Reflection technology into the platform to provide product search capability. Followed by the acquisition, Sitecore introduces Sitecore Discover, which is a product that leverage AI and machine learning to provide personalized recommendation and content to the user. So Sitecore Discover is built on top of reflection. So you can see the hierarchy. First of all, it's Elasticsearch, then reflection, then Sitecore Discover. So Sitecore Discover let you create best-in-class, engaging, and predefined personalized shopping experiences across all e-commerce channels. Sitecore continued to enhance its search capabilities and extended its search capabilities beyond just search that we discussed. And it include generic search, allowing user to search across all content within the platform. And then Sitecore introduces Sitecore Search. So as we mentioned, Sitecore Discover was focused on the e-commerce platform where it makes product search easier. Then Sitecore evolved this Sitecore Discover product itself to provide a more generic search and introduces or rebranded it with the Sitecore Search. So this evaluation of Sitecore Search capability has enabled organization to deliver more relevant and personalized experience into the customer journey. In summary, it comes from reflection, Sitecore Discover. Initially, this acquisition was focused on, as we mentioned, product search only, A/B testing and AI-based recommendation. Sitecore, upon completing the acquisition, re-engineered the platform in such a way that Sitecore Search could be launched as a distinct service focused on content indexing, crawler-based optimization, and API enterprise level search capabilities. So Sitecore Search has three components that interact with your platform. The first one is the customer engagement console. This is a really important component of Sitecore Search. The CEC, in short term, we are saying that CEC, which is a SaaS workbench for business practitioner and developers. Business practitioner can create rules, new content discovery experiences, run A/B tests, platform analytics, and more. Whereas a developer can use it to learn about Sitecore Search APIs and test integrations. Then we have search and recommendation service that can be used to build targeted AI-based search and recommendation for your content. The service honor all rules you can set up on the CEC, including synonyms, boost, bury, pin, exclude rules, and redirect rules. So all these kind of rules can be configured using CEC. Then the third one is event service. The Sitecore Search event service processes visitor data that Sitecore uses to optimize search result and recommendation and create a valuable analytics around that data. Next, the integration with Sitecore. So there are three main tasks to do when you integrate search experiences with your website and applications. So the first one is the content information. Each Sitecore Search implementation requires that you configure a source for your content. You can configure a crawler or use the integration API. Like depending on your implementation, you do this by yourself or have Sitecore professional do this step for you. So when you are ready to configure your Sitecore Search, either if you are confident enough, you can continue with it. But if not, then Sitecore professional, I mean, somebody from Sitecore itself can help you to configure this. If you configure a crawler to get content, set up the frequency with which you want Sitecore crawl your data. So we can specify the schedule that by when Sitecore Search can crawl the data. The second one is the visitor information. Visitor information consists of website visitor tracking, that is visitor runtime, anonymous identification. This information is essential for every Sitecore search does, including personalization, rule targeting, dataset generation, and analytics. Those capabilities are around the visitor information or visitor behavior. The third one is the search experiences. Search experiences integrate search and recommendation experiences with your search bar, like autocomplete, segregation, result as a glance, search result page, and content detail page recommendations. So all those recommendations can be configured using search experiences. We recommend that you think of Sitecore Search widgets as the key mechanism to serve content data anywhere on your site. When you do this, Sitecore Search uses its content and visitor profile to perform real-time optimization of content display, which help your visitor find what they are looking for. So now let's talk about this diagram. So this diagram shows a quick summary of Sitecore Search core functionality, data flows, and usage consideration. We will discuss these functionalities briefly in the next couple of slides. So very first, like the content catalog. We can onboard content into centralized catalog and enrich with synonyms, backlist, replacement, etc. to provide needed input to search engine. So Sitecore Search allows for the upload of individual content assets into centralized managed catalog. That catalog can have the content from multiple sources. So each content item is described with a number of content detailed description that can be used for content search, filtering, and metadata analytics or analysis. Then further attributes, we have to identify the attributes. We'll talk about a little more detail about the attributes. For attributes, filter can be applied to add a specific context when the content relevant to the further boost search indexing and performance. So attributes plays a very important role there. We briefly discussed about Sitecore widgets and recipe. So widgets is a way of representing results that are generated by the API. A search preview widget is for presenting the result of search. Another example of widget is the recommendation widget. So it's another widget that we can include into the page, and that is actually based on the user has already searched. So it can give you a recommendation that Sitecore search engine learned from your previous interactions. So once a widget is created in CEC, the user then can click on it to perform specific operation relative to the user provided context. So as I mentioned, it can learn from the previously acquired interactions. That helps to give a relevant or helps you to deliver the relevant experiences and relevant content to the end user. Sitecore Search visit and recipes are basically built using a drag and drop interface. Using CAC, we can just drag and drop these widgets to configure the system in such a way that whenever we hit a query, we'll get the relevant content on the basis of widgets that you have included. The recipes can be used to power a particular content search experiences or a personalization visit with the different areas of search result potentially powered by alternative recipes. End user of search can determine where widgets should be embedded and whether variants or split tests are required. Like we can put on the basis of if we want to apply some kind of A/B testing around those. So we can create a variance of the widgets and components, and then we can apply the A/B testing around it. And then let's see that which version of the component gives you a better result. You can switch on that version later on. That is a familiar behavior in the Sitecore XP word as well. Similar kind of A/B testing can be configured. Now the search experiences. So through search experiences, we can traverse through the indexed content. You can have a look on how the index is being built using the platform itself. So we can get using Sitecore experience page, we can get the unique user ID for the user set by first party cookie. So as when you progress with the Sitecore search configuration, behind the scene, it creates a cookie at the browser level, which is being used for further identification of the user. So that cookie stores the important information so that it can identify the returning user. It has the keyword recommendation related to terms to guide user through search experiences. It also has the content type being requested, which is, for an example, only knowledge center article instead of press releases. So you can just filter it out that what kind of content you are looking for. So if you just want to a knowledge center article, you can just select the type, and it will return you the results that belongs to the knowledge center itself and not to the other. Different sorting algorithm is there. I mean, the ascending, descending. You can just select that sorting mechanism from the page itself. Then listing of retrieved search in line with the sorting mechanism that we discussed about, related questions, functionalities, overlay, search experiences, with the additional dimensions that we can provide. The choice between lexical only and semantic search, we can search. I mean, we can just switch the search type, like whether we want a lexical search or we also want a semantic search. So there is a flag over there where you can just switch it. And also a language selection for the demo instance, like you can select the language, the result in which language you want. So you can just switch the language using this. We also get the Sitecore analytics, Sitecore search analytics. So there are analytics to understand overall content search strategies, performance in the relation to main engagement metrics. So view, clicks, those are analytics that we can see. And it also has the ability to drill down the individual keywords and widgets and additional measures in the analytics. Additional, it also has the additional insight opportunities driven by the ability to push data back from Sitecore search into the various sources. For an example, Sitecore CDP, and you can enrich the analytics by integrating the Sitecore CDP, which is using a dedicated data lake export. So we can get few data from Sitecore CDP so that it can help you to deliver a personalized content within the Sitecore search platform itself. So Sitecore search platform itself has the personalization capabilities. As I mentioned earlier, it identifies the returning user with the cookie, first party cookie. Along with this, we can also integrate Sitecore CDP to deliver a highly personalized experience in Sitecore search result itself. In optimization, we'll discuss about the importance of relevance tuning and the rule engine. Sitecore search supports a number of ways to enhance and optimize Sitecore search performance with the results. So first one is the content facet. The user of the platform makes the content available along with the regular tags and attributes in order to classify the individual piece of content into the Sitecore search. So I think the facets, everybody in the Sitecore world also aware of the Sitecore facets, how facets work. So similar kind of facets are available in Sitecore Search, where you can use those facets to trim down your search result, and you should be able to get the relevant search by applying the facets. The second one is the boost, pin, bury, and blacklist that we discussed earlier. Sitecore Search support boosting, pin, bury, and blacklist as out-of-the-box business controls. So customer can also use ranking. The ranking can be linked to a specific first-party data conditions, and those conditions can be matched to provide or boost your ranking, so that once boosting is provided, your search result comes at the top. So that boosting capabilities are also there. So you don't need to code anything. Previously, we have to boost a search result through programmatic way, but in the Sitecore Search, that all can be configured using Sitecore Search platform. So it makes things pretty easy using the Sitecore Search platform. The third one is the ranking and priority. So based on the native content data model of the platform, customer can build their own object, customer relevancy for their search queries and indexes with the weight assigned to each field. I mean, in Sitecore XP Word, and while we're working with the Solar indexes, we can apply the weightage or boost logic at the field level. In similar way, we can do it in the Sitecore Search. It is just that we don't need to code. It is just a configuration that can make the difference with your search result. So Sitecore uses a particular analyzer to extract the value from the various attributes set against the objects in the content catalog in order to make search more engaging. So we will discuss about how that extraction happens within this session itself. So we'll discuss it in a little more details. And then once attributes are identified, then we can apply the ranking and priority on those attributes. Next is querying. So Sitecore Search uses a neuro-linguistic programming language, which is an NPL language, as the foundation of its search engine, and therefore can handle any simple or complex query. Different type of refinements are also possible. So let's talk about what kind of search query can be performed over the Sitecore Search platform. And the first one is the fuzzy search. The Sitecore supports lookups and search query processing using fuzzy search. So to avoid the spelling mistakes made by the visitor, like visitor can do as minor spelling mistakes. So having a fuzzy search will help us to correct the spellings, and then user can continue with their search journey. Another one is the location optimization. So Sitecore Search supports a multi-catalog, multi-locale setups that can be used to render a specific result per country, state, and region. So this would be very helpful. Like if you are searching something from a specific region, then you'll get your search result in context with your region. So that is also possible with the Sitecore Search platform. Other supported enhancement mechanism natively supported by other configurations that we can make. The next one is the indexing. So let's talk something about custom search indexes. Like anybody can have the question, like in XP Word, we have the full control on the indexing. How many indexes we want to create, that we can create, what are the fields that we want to index. Those things are there, but there are some differences, and when we are working with the Sitecore Search. So let's talk about those differences. So first one is the dynamic content. Like combine multiple types of content into one connected search experiences. So underpinned by a flexible data model that can be extended or with so-called customer properties. So as to describe the individual content article in the relevant metadata dimensions that would facilitate optimized search. So content can be described with the topology, separation of content, catalog, and the attributes to generate specific indexes that deliver improved search result and redundancy, reduced latencies. So as I mentioned, in Sitecore Search, we have one single large attribute collection, and those collections or attributes can work across multiple sources. So sources could be multiple, but we can have one single index to keep all those sources into that one single index, and we can identify or differentiate those indexes by type. So we can provide the type for the content. Like we can have multiple sources like site A, site B, site C. All three sources can ingested into one single index, and we can within that index we can differentiate all those types with the source type. Like in source type we can have site 1 as a source type, site 2 as a source type, and we can apply the filter on those basis while we are rendering the search back. So customers can build their object with the custom relevancy for their search queries and indexes with the weightage assigned to each that we already discussed. Uh, uh, so dynamic content can be populated that we discussed. Next one is the multiple content sources that we discussed, that sources could be multiple, but we can have one single index to keep all those content into one single location. That will make search effective. And in the same time, we can have a segregation of those sources with the source type. The third one is the attribute extraction that we discussed, that how a particular analyzer can be used to extract the value from the various attributes set against the object in the content catalog in order to make the search more engaging with the automated setting of indexes. So we'll discuss more on the attribute extraction later on the slides. Okay, another question could be related to security, like how or what kind of securities that Sitecore Search platform offers. So Sitecore Search handles data privacy and security in the following ways. The first one is the content index. Customer configure one or more sources that we discussed to be ingested, and there are a few considerations when we are talking about Sitecore security. So what are those considerations? The considerations are like customers' right to index the data and crawl the sites. So it all depends on the configuration and customer rights. If customer allows that, we want to index some personal data, like we want to index the personal PII data or PHI data or not, that can also be configured. Like we can just ignore the PII data or PHI data to be indexed, and that can be easily configured on the platform. Another one is the multi-geo replication. So different geolocations have different restriction of data storage. So that can also be configured, whether specified data or PII data can be stored into the other locations or other geolocation replicated location or not. That can also be configured. And the data that is covered by copyright. So if you have the data, copyright data, then also you can control the behavior using Sitecore Search. The second one is visitor data. That was all the content related data. Now let's talk about visitor related data. So the telemetry of like click data captured for an individual visitor, which is used in combination with the index data to personalize result. Like somebody clicks something on the site, Sitecore Search capture that click and any kind of index, any kind of actions or interactions that happens on the site, and accordingly it can play a important role to produce the personalized content. So, uh, the considerations regarding the security in storing the visitors' data is bit different. So let's talk about that. So clarity on any interaction across geolocation with the indexes. So we need to have a very clear picture that, okay, what are the data that can be stored that we discussed in the content index as well. Similarly, it is applies to the visitor data. What kind of visitor data we can store into the Sitecore search on the basis of geolocation of that user data. PII data is stored for that visitor and implications of using that data in the training modules. So those, like, can we use that data in the training modules or not? So those are the complex configurations that we need to have today. I mean, during my discovery, during my POC, I was not able to control all those data, but I got this detailing from Sitecore itself that can be configured. But for this configuration, we need to connect to the Sitecore representative to have a more controlled behavior on these security stuff. The third one is the analytics data. I mean, the aggregation of data stored in Sitecore Search solution to power reporting tool, and the recommendation for the requirement related to the storage of the data, granularity of PII of data stored. Normally, aggregated data is anonymized to avoid privacy issue. So those data can be anonymized, so we can mask the data, which is really important while storing that data into the indexes or into the multiple geolocation storage for their application purpose. So those are the security considerations that we should consider when we are working with the Sitecore search. And if we want we want to compile compliance, we want to ensure that data are compliance with the standard, then we should contact to the Sitecore support team and Sitecore product team to ensure that as per the norms with the region that you are configuring your Sitecore search has all those security compliances while working with this. Now the next is the Sitecore search features that allow you to generate different user experiences. So here are the important terms that we should be familiar. That facets that we discussed, facets has two types of facets into the Sitecore search word, like facets, the term facets, which are more relevant to the search attributes. So like if you want to apply filter on the basis of colors like red, green, blue, those are the strings, right? So those strings or related attributes can be treated as the term facet, and the another facet is the histogram facet, which are more towards the numeric attributes. Like if you want to apply the facets on the basis of price range, then those facets can be considered into the histogram facets. Then filters, we briefly discussed about. There are two types of filters, like at the page level filter and the facet level filters. So those filters can be configured on the basis of these two level of filters. Then we have the suggestions. Like suggestions are like to autocomplete search queries. When you type something, it can give you the autocomplete search response, makes your search easier. You can just select the values from the autocomplete and you'll get the response back from the Sitecore search with relevance to that suggestions. For an example, you have a cosmetic company and visitor searches for blue hair. Just a second. Blue hair. So suggestion, it can provide you like blue hair color or something like how to get midnight blue hair. Those examples are written into the Sitecore documentation itself. So um, um, I just given an example using that. So the suggestions are on the basis of what you are typing, and Sitecore Search can predict the respective Sitecore Search provide you the respective search suggestions to help you out. Another important and core feature is the personalization. So personalization enable you to customize the result on the basis of user interaction. For an example, you choose the personalization based on the title and type attributes. Sitecore Search uses the visitor browsing history to show the result with titles and types in which the visitor has shown interest. So those interests will also be recorded as an interactions, as we discussed earlier, that it identify the user on the basis of cookie, first party cookie. So all those features can be configured using Sitecore Search. The next one is the ranking, sorting, and semantic search that we briefly discussed. So these are the core Sitecore Search features. Let's move away from the theoretical and discuss something practical with the visual examples. So what to expect during onboarding. So suppose we are all ready for the Sitecore configuration, Sitecore Search configuration. So what should be our first step? So we'll discuss about this. So when you onboard with Sitecore Search, a Sitecore Search integration specialist will create a domain according to your subscription agreement. So first, what you need to do is you need to consult, or you need to raise a request to Sitecore Search along with your client that you want to integrate Sitecore Search. And there will be a space list assigned to you from Sitecore itself that will help you to configure the source, configure the attributes that we will be briefly capturing into subsequent slides. So setting up, there are a couple of steps that we need to follow. So setting up the search account, there are a few activities that Sitecore Professional perform when you're ready with it. So during setup, you need to provide Sitecore with a list of your users. So your user, I mean, the platform user that you want to give the access to. So you need to give those user list to the Sitecore professionals so that they can configure or they can invite you to the platform. As a developer, I'm talking about the developer because end user don't need that. So as a developer or as a marketer, you might need a platform access. So in the request, you need to mention that these are the email address that needs to have the access to the platform. So platform specialist will invite all those users to the platform so that they can use that platform. And the representative from Sitecore create those accounts and send the invite. Next is the source configurations. So configuring the source, as we discussed. So configure the content after configuring the source. After configuring the source, next step could be the attribute. So we need to analyze the source well, and then after analysis we can identify that okay, these are the data that we want to capture as the indexes data, and those data has to be captured in the attributes. So we'll discuss about attributes, how that data can be extracted from the source and assigned to the attributes using extractor. So steps to get started. I mentioned that following are the predefined set of steps can greatly improve your ability to quickly and effectively solve the problems. By having a clear and structured approach, you can ensure that you don't miss any important detail on steps in the process. This can help you to identify the root cause of the problem more effectively and the ultimately lead to the faster resolution. Additionally, following are the set of steps that can help to reduce initial stress as you can feel more confident in your ability to tackle the issue at the hand. Overall, taking the time to establish a clear problem solving process can be a valuable investment in your productivity and success. If we know what exactly we need to follow to achieve something, a journey become relatively easier. So frankly speaking, I had a very hard time to explore Sitecore Search because there were no Sitecore document that I can refer. And because of the rich documentation, missing this rich documentation, I had to analyze each and everything on myself. And then I started with the idea that, okay, why can't I record all those steps? And then I can document all those steps and so that I can help my team to easily configure the Sitecore search. So these are the steps that I have recorded during that session. So the first step is uh, we must examine the source and pinpoints the attributes that are suitable for the searching. As we mentioned earlier, we have to analyze the source first. So once identified, these attributes must be mapped into the Sitecore search platform. So once we identify that, okay, that are the source, and then after analysis, we identify that, okay, from these source, these are the most important data or field that we want to capture. And similar way, we will create or map those attributes to the Sitecore platform. Now, the next question could be where we can get the out of the box attributes that we can map that data. And if those attributes are not there, we can create new attributes and we can map the data to those new attributes. So to create attributes, you need to go to the administrative or administration section. If you can see at the rightmost bar, you'll see that the administration section. And then when you click on administration section, you'll get the domain settings. If you can see that in the domain settings, when you tap on the domain settings, you'll get the list of all attributes that is provided by Sitecore platform itself. So these are the out of the box attributes that you have. But if you want to add more attributes, you can simply click on the add attributes, the action button at the top. And then there will be a wizard-like form that will gather the information from you, and then those fields will be added into the system. Next is the source. So when we analyze that, okay, during the source, these are the attributes. We map the attributes. We identify that, okay, these are the attributes that are missing. We can add those attributes. Now all attributes are in place. Now it's time to add the multiple sources into the Sitecore platform. So from the same administrative modules, you can now click on the source, and once you tap on the source, you can add the multiple sources or the new source into the system. So while adding a new source, we need to provide a very minimal details like name, description, and the source type. So here, what are the source type we can have? So we can have the web crawler, advanced web crawler, sitemap. So multiple options are there. According to your use case, you can select the connector types. So developer can configure the crawler to collect relevant content data and filter out unwanted content. So when we are setting up the crawler, right? So crawler always look for the entire HTML page. So there is a huge information available into the HTML page. And to avoid unwanted data captured into the indexes, we want to focus on only the important data that we discussed, and those important data can be mapped to the attributes. So we did that exercise. We know that, okay, these are the important data that we want to capture. Then we map that data into the attributes. Into the last section, we discussed about the attributes, and we map that data. How? So we configure the source here. We map all those sources with all those sources with the attributes that we identified. Next is the trigger, that how we can configure the triggers. So when you configure a source with the Sitecore Search, you must create trigger to determine what content to look for. And after that, we can configure the document extractor. So now the question is, what is trigger? So trigger is the starting point that Sitecore Search used to look for the content to index, and can be sitemap, it can be a JavaScript function, or it can be RSS feed, or a simple HTTP request. So you need to configure that trigger that, okay, I want to crawl that source, and what type of the source it is. It is the sitemap that we are crawling. It is the JavaScript function that we are crawling, or it is a RSS feed that we are calling. So this type can be configured on the basis of trigger. So trigger can allow you to choose between the type of source. Source we have already created. Now it's time to define the source type. And these are the source type that we can configure using the Sitecore search. So sitemap, request, RSS, and JS. We define the source, we define the attributes, we define the triggers. As you can see into this screen, we define the triggers already. Now the next step is the document extractor. As I mentioned, we know that, okay, that is the source that we want to crawl, and these are the attributes. Now we need to suggest Sitecore Search that how to extract the content from source and map it to the attributes. Now that's stitching that we need to do. We have the content, we have the attributes, but now how to map those attributes with the content. Here the document extractor comes into the picture, where so document extractor is a way to extract the required content from the source system and assign it to the attributes. Once that is configured properly, Sitecore Search automatically fetch the content from source and populate all attributes based on the extractors. We will see, like if time allows, we can see that how and what kind of like it allows the XPath that that can extract your values from the HTML and assign it to the attributes. So there are certain ways of configuring the XPath so that it can look for the XPath location and extract the exact value that we need. Once the document extractor configured, the next step is the publishing. So we just need to publish whatever the changes that we had. And then once it is publishing in progress, it will start the actual scanning as well. So publishing ensures that all those content or all those modification that we did, it is saved. And also it trigger the actual crawling. It means once publishing is done, it will put it into the queue, and then it will start the crawling, actual crawling. So once that crawling is done, I mean, you can see all those progress, all the status of the crawling onto this page itself. And then once it is done, you can verify your indexed content into the context into the context section. we'll discuss about later. So if scanning and crawling is done in the status section, you can see that last scan status. I'll show you into the page itself. Once it is done, you can go to the catalog section and just hit the content. And here you can see the actual indexed content that has been populated as a part of indexing. You can see that these are the actual indexes, actual item or actual page. So what it shows that it crawl this particular URL and extract these attributes. So you can see that the name, content type, source name, URL ID, these are the attributes that are populated as a part of crawling. I think that is it for now. I think those are the pictures. Those are all good. We can just quickly move on to the actual page. So I'll give it a pause here, and I'll show you how it looks like onto the platform itself. So, and then we'll move on to the question and answer section. So let me show you. I hope my browser is visible. Can somebody confirm this?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay. So this is the URL that we have. So as I already mentioned, Sitecore Search, previously known as Sitecore Reflection. So in URL, you can see that it mentioned the reflection. It might be changes a little later when Sitecore Search progresses. But for now, it is having the reflection. So I'm using the sandbox provided by our organization. So this is the sandbox URL. And once you log into the system, this is the administrative section that I was talking about, where you can create your source, you create the attributes, then and you can map those sources and to the attributes. So attributes, first we analyze the document. We know that, okay, from the document or HTML page, these are the data that we want to capture. And we allow that, okay, these are the attributes. So attributes, we can find the list of attributes here. So these are the attributes, out of the box attributes. I have added a couple of more attributes here. You can just ignore it. But these are the attribute list, and you can create a new attributes by clicking on this button. So these are the out of the box attributes, and then those attributes can be configured in the source. So we discussed about the source. Currently, this is my first source that I created. When you go inside this, we discussed about the trigger, we discussed about the document extractor. We'll see that how we have configured this. So in the trigger, you can see that I have configured trigger as a web crawler, and I'm just any URL that I put. Earlier it was horizontal, now I changed it to the google.com. You can just put any kind of URL, and then after that we have the document extractor, which is the most important stuff. I think it is getting fixed now. I'm just capturing the URL for now, but I have something in my article. Somebody, because it's a shared environment, somebody changed these settings. But here we can provide the XPath of the actual content, and that will populate your field or attribute. So here we have the list of attributes. We can type a new attribute. This is the drop down that we have. It will show you all those attributes that is there in the attribute section. So you can select any kind of attributes, and then you can type the selector, what kind of XPath you can write it here, and you can select that, okay, that is the XPath that we have given. What exactly the XPath you can type here? I have few articles that you can just go through it. I can just let you through that article where we can, I have all those experts. I can show you what are the experts that you used for uh, populate the attributes. So I'm just trying to fetch out that article where this. Yeah, I think this is. You can just go through this article. It is exactly mentioning all those steps that we have discussed. So here you can see that analyze the source code. We are analyzing it. We are planning to capture these attributes. So while we analyzing it, we figured out that these are the attributes that we want to capture, and that we map these attributes with out-of-the-box provided attributes. Here we are creating those attributes, and then we are adding the sources. We are configuring the triggers, and then we have the document extractor. So you can see that these are the extractor that we can configure. So once these extractors are defined, you will get on the basis of rules, XPath rule you have defined, this will, or crawler will automatically read the value from this XPath and assign it to these attributes. So these are the sample XPath that I have displayed here. Like if you want to get the value from description, which is from the metadata, you can type the meta and the OG tag, and you can extract the description from the meta tag. So these are the sample XPath examples that you can use. And remaining are the same stuff, like on the content, you can see the exact populated indexes that is being populated as a part of your crawling. It's the catalog, and into the catalog we have the content. Yeah, so these are the content that was populated as a part of crawling. So you can see that all attributes are populated correctly. That is it. Probably we can have a separate session on practically how we can do it by following all these steps. But these steps are, everybody can go to these steps and then figure it out how it is working at your case. And if it is not working, then probably we can connect. I can help you on any kind of difficulties if you're getting. If not, then we can again, we can plan a further section on the practical demo that how we can configure any site into the Sitecore search by following all these steps, and let's see how it can populate the exact content into the content indexes here. I'll take a pause and we'll see if we have any kind of questions here, and then we'll conclude with the sessions. Any questions?
So there is one question in chat, and it was from Nilesh. It was just regarding, will there be any demo of Sitecore Search in this session? So
in this session, no. I have just go through this. Whatever is pre-configured, we have just gone through it. So the similar steps we can follow. But if with the demand, we can plan a separate session where we can do it from scratch, as I mentioned into the article, and we can populate the search indexes within that session itself.
sure. Any question? If you want to unmute yourself and want to discuss anything about Arvind, with Arvind, let me know. I can unmute you.
If not, then I have already provided my channels where I can help you. Just raise a question, one of them channel, and then I should be able to provide you the relevant answers.
Yep, there is a request from Shivam to arrange one practical demo session. So, yeah.
Sure, we can plan the next session on the practical demo where we'll exactly follow the steps and we'll do it from scratch. No worries.
So it will be helpful for us to arrange a practical session. Like if this session was a helpful, but practically way will be more beneficial and helpful, I think.
Sure. Yeah, Khushbu, let's plan another session on practical demo where we'll do it everything from scratch.
Yes, definitely. We can plan.
And one question more from my side, Arvind. The portal you have opened is a like solar search portal or
No. That is not solar. Solar is not picture anymore in the picture anymore. This is the Sitecore Search dashboard or a Sitecore Search portal where we can configure the Sitecore Search for your sources. I mean, everything is as I mentioned into the session itself. It's a headless discovery, right? So you can configure whatever it is, and then you can integrate your web application with the Sitecore Search using API. So it exposes the content through RESTful APIs. So the Sitecore Search, your platform or your websites can hit the RESTful APIs to extract the content from Sitecore Search. And in addition to this, it can also gives you the liberty of the personalization, because as I mentioned, it is all on the basis of query. Like if you go through all those composable product of Sitecore, like Sitecore CDP, Sitecore Search, all are having dropping the cookies into the application, and then it provides and recognize your returning user and provide the analytics, and it helps to deliver the personalized content, be it Sitecore CDP or Sitecore Search. So everything on the basis of RESTful APIs and the cookie. Cookie has to be supplied back to the Sitecore Search to apply the personalization on the content. Any other question?
okay. So like this search has been provided by the Sitecore itself. It's a Sitecore own platform, as you mentioned before.
Right.
Now it's not using a solar search. Regarding that,
No,
Sitecore has provided its own search, right?
that's true.
Okay. So like from the standpoint, which version it is taking precedence over the solar search?
I'm not getting it. Can you come again?
Hello, I'm audible.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So I'm asking like from which Sitecore version we can use this Sitecore search
Okay.
on search.
Yeah, so it can be used with Sitecore 10.3 if we are talking about XP version. That is still there in a headless way. And if you are working with XM Cloud, which is again headless content management system. So these are the platforms you can use Sitecore Search with Sitecore. I mean, you can still use this product with any version of Sitecore Search because everything is on the basis of APIs, right? So it's a RESTful APIs. So if you have any kind of Sitecore Search, you can directly make use of it. Even if you are not having a Sitecore for your application, for your website, still you can make use of this Sitecore Search because there is no dependency at all on Sitecore.
Okay, understand. So it's not a license based, right?
No. Sitecore Search is licensed based. You have to subscribe. It is a SaaS based offering from Sitecore, so you have to subscribe it.
Okay.
It's not a free
Open source,
offering.
not.
No.
Okay.
It's a SaaS offering.
Okay, understand.
That's it. If we are
Yeah, I
good.
think that's it.
Yeah. So again, like if anybody has any further question, connect to me. We can discuss it further in more detail, and I should be able to help you. So once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Have a good day, good weekend. Take care.
Thank you,
Khushbu, over
Arvind.
to you.
Yeah, thank you, Arvind, for sharing your knowledge with us. It was really helpful, and we can surely um, plan the demo session or practical session, so that would be beneficial for others as well. Yeah, thank you all for
Sure.
joining. We will let you know when we schedule a demo for Sitecore Search. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
you.